Coin drop. Screen flash. The high score. Boss laugh.
Thumb sore, same fight. Lost track of the time all night. Snacks gone, eyes red. Still shouting one more instead. Distracted gamers, press start. Button mashing from the heart. Round one, game on. We get hit, go harder. Distracted gamers, press start.
A mighty crew we have here today. Assuming Jason is actually present.
I'm here,
Oh.
yeah.
Oh, well.
As much as I can be, right?
Right. It's the 4th of July. It's America's birthday, and we are here not celebrating, which is fine.
We're celebrating it in our own way by spouting our opinions on the internet. What is more free than that?
Get prepared for me to scream at the internet, everybody. We have fireworks banned in our area, so there's not too much to go look at besides spending time at home.
That's true. That's true.
And barbecuing and whatnot.
Yep, did the barbecue earlier today, so
Yeah, I smell like smoke because I was out barbecuing burgers. I don't know. I'm good at barbecuing everything. When it comes to burgers, they always like puff up and shrink, and I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
I don't think you're doing anything wrong. That happens. It's the fat all melts away, and that's what you have left.
Well, I've debated to cook it less, not as
That
long.
should make it shrink less.
Well, and the old school, they used to have those like burger presses, and not that I want to squish the burger to push out the juices, but I was thinking about if I get those and I put that on the burger, then it won't inflate if it just sits on.
That's true.
That's my cheat theory. I'm still trying to crack the burger. Very un-American of me. But it's
Some of it, I think, is the type of burger, because I've noticed that most burgers do shrink, but some do shrink a little bit less than others.
And I don't
if
know
you
if
get
it's
the pre-made stuff.
Well, you watch these videos, it's like, oh, I get high fat content, and it's like,
Yeah.
am I cooking them too long? Is that the problem?
I think that's some of it.
I don't know. This is a problem that will plague me for many generations to come. Silver, I expect to see at some point. Ross, he told me he was going to go see fireworks with family. I'm suspicious because no fireworks. So, maybe he's just
He's
lying.
in a different neck of the woods, so maybe. There are some places that are allowing like professional displays, so maybe he's going to something like that.
We'll see. That being said, it's an exciting 4th of July because I have grievances. It has been an absurdly busy, packed week full of earth-shattering news. Not just in the gaming world, but in other places. But the gaming world especially. I mean, we've been predicting this stuff for quite some time, and though we don't have aggressive every episode listeners, if you've heard this podcast, you should be well aware that we've been screaming from the hilltops that things don't look so good in the gaming world, everybody. And you might shrug and go, it's like, no. And it seems like things are coming home to roost. It reminds me, I might get self-centered for a second. As ironic as it is, the 4th of July and the reason for rebelling were over grievances over taxes and lack of
Right,
representation. Multiple taxes were levied against the colonies, and then the colonies were upset, not just because of the taxes, which they found unreasonable, but because the taxes were levied and they had no say in the matter. They had no representation in Parliament, which was one of the biggest grievances that they asked for and were ignored on. And it feels to me, with what's happening to consumer rights today, is far more egregious than some of the taxes that they faced at the time, which are small percentages increases. And for some reason, a lot of us seem to shrug or roll our eyes or not even pay attention to what's really going on here. And I know a lot of you might not be plugged into it. Maybe you all are aware and you're not fully aware of how bad things are getting in the gaming world. But fear not, for this podcast exists. Because you will be able to, at least to some degree, be aware. I don't think I've said this before, but this is an important podcast to at least have listened to. Because then you're going to know what on earth the large gaming corporations are actually doing now. So let's begin by doing a little bit of retracement. I didn't queue up the link to the... Let's hope it... it does not. Oh, screw you. Let's see. So, I'm going to close the news and then have to redo this. This is my favorite thing about Streamlabs, is it's not consistent, so you have to constantly retest it to make sure that it still works, even though it doesn't always still work.
Hallmark of a great program. Will it work this time?
Well, it's free.
Yeah, hard to complain about the price anyway.
Precisely. So I'm going to bring up... That's not the news I want. So, we brought up in the past sort of the problems that have been happening with no, don't want that. So I'm just going to I'm going to talk about this off the top of my head. So we brought up in the past a news article, I believe last week.
Okay.
How reportedly Xbox is losing hundreds of dollars on every console. Now, believe it or not, this is actually a common occurrence. They don't charge you 100% of the value hardware-wise that the console costs, because they realize that consoles would be like $800 and be grossly unaffordable.
Right.
And because of that, looks like I got it. Boom, boom, perfect. And because of that, you don't pay $800, $900, $1,000 per console, because they do a calculation and they figure out after how many games sold, they actually make their money back. So hopefully after selling a console, they sell 3 or 4 games and then it becomes profitable. Well, that metric is becoming more and more of a problem because hardware is becoming more and more expensive. Now, the reasons for this are manifold. The tariffs had some part in it, but by and large, the issue is RAM cost, or your memory. And RAM costs are going up because AI is becoming hugely, hugely important, and AI is eating up all of the RAM. So now you're in competition with ChatGPT and Grok for whether or not you have access to RAM, and RAM's prices are just skyrocketing because of that, which has resulted in the current price. I believe the Xbox Series X is at $800.
Okay.
Which I think sold initially at like 4 or 5 or something.
Yeah, something like that.
On top of that, PlayStation's gone up in price. The Switch 2 has gone up in price.
Right.
And all of these things, which we argued last week, is actually starting to price out the average consumer. Because the average consumer can't afford things as they're getting more expensive. Your average middle-class buyer is not going to be able to afford these things anymore. Now, you might be asking yourself, oh, well, that's just a PlayStation thing. Well, I got rid of my border. Well, that's just an Xbox thing. Well, Sony had a statement recently where they said it's not realistic for us to absorb all component cost increases. Sony says it won't sell hardware at a significant loss as concerns grow over the PS6 price. Now Sony is weighing in saying they're not going to take a significant loss on hardware anymore.
We're not going to do it either. Yeah.
No. And once again, as RAM is going up now, they have the prices here. We're doing the standard PS5 at $650, digital edition $600, PS5 Pro at $900. You know, I own a Pro, and it seemed extravagant at the time. Like when I bought my PlayStation 4 and upgraded to the PS4 Pro, it was a huge improvement in my eyes. It was a 4K console. It had 1 terabyte of hard drive space. It was a big, big improvement. And games looked better and ran better because you could visually see it because of the 4K. It didn't seem like there was that big a jump from the PS5 to the PS5 Pro. But I only spent like $700 on it. But, well, to be fair, trade-in, it wasn't as gross as you would make it out to be. But now we're looking at a $900 PS5 Pro. And Sony's saying they don't want to eat the costs anymore. And especially when it's hard to tell how much time it takes before they become profitable. Because they don't sell games as significantly as they used to.
Well, not only that, but the game market has been really bad recently.
Most of their income comes through microtransactions, things like digital sales, you know, buying loot boxes and all that crap. And you might roll your eyes, is that not true? It is a significant portion of Sony's revenue comes from not strictly game sales, but small purchases on their live service games. And they look at this and they know. They know that this is what's happening. They know that this is how they're making their money. And they don't seem to want to eat the costs anymore.
Well, it does make a certain amount of sense. If the expense wasn't as great as it is, if they're, you know, if we're talking about a couple $100 and they easily make it back in game purchases later down the line, it's not such a big ask. But since they're jumping from, you know, $500 to almost $1,000, that's not an insignificant cost there per console.
Right. Well, this is an article we found last week. PlayStation console sales fell to their lowest in 26 years following PS5 price rises. Year over year, PS5 spending fell 43%. Unit sales, 58%. A massive drop in console sales, which can be attributed to the increase in price. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I would also point out that AAA games have not been up to snuff. And have not been up to snuff enough to justify purchasing games at these consoles at these exorbitant prices. Well, now comes the big earth-shattering news that really shook up the internet. Which I don't know why they thought that this was going to slide out and maybe they'll get some grumbling and this would go away. But PlayStation has announced that they are going to cease to produce physical discs by January
right.
2028. And the response has been epic, to say the least. Let me key up another article.
I've seen some of the that have been coming out, not just memes, some of the articles that have been coming out about this. A lot of it definitely comes down to what happens if they decide that they don't want you to have that game anymore and you've already paid for it.
Well, it's not
What
just
is your
that.
recourse?
We are talking a huge issue in consumer rights being thrown out the window. Now, the reason
Right.
why physical game discs going away is a big problem is because if we move to entire digital, then the question becomes, do you own your digital? Because at least with a physical copy, I had a physical copy, I could hold a physical copy, I could never, as long as I had it, I wouldn't lose it, and I could play the game forever. I've got
Right.
NES games that we had when I was a wee little child that I can still put in and they still function and everything still works perfectly. And then we got a story last week where Sony eliminates 500 movies that they sold on PlayStation that people purchased and assumed that they owned. And they took them off their PlayStations because they lost the license. And now we're looking around going, if you don't own the things you buy and everything's digital, then at what point do you have ownership over anything? Because if they can just take it away and they're refusing to print discs anymore, then at what point do you own anything that you actually purchase? Now, I know, legally speaking, you don't own music. You buy the license to access to music. And
Right.
most people aren't going to go down that weird route of understanding the ins and outs of it. If I bought a CD, I own the CD. I kind of play the music as much as I want to. But the problem is,
Go and have a concert and play it there for all the people to listen to. That's a different license.
well, right, but all
yeah.
of these are for personal use. And
Right,
now it's calling
right.
into question, do you own anything at all, ever? Because if they could take it away from you, and Sony taking away the movies is not the first time this has happened. They've done it on Steam.
Right.
If you're sitting there asking, well, if I bought it on Steam, they'll always have their giant library. Really? Can you guarantee that Steam will always exist? Well, they're the biggest one out there. Can you?
Nope.
One of the largest gaming companies was Midway during the arcade machine era.
That's true. Yeah.
No one cares about Midway today. The biggest console dominator
Atari.
was Atari. And Atari
Yeah.
is almost a non-entity at the moment. Despite all of this, Steam can still take it away. I think the game was The Crew, where they just decided to remove your access to the game and delete it from your Steam library. Because they decided they're going to come out with a new one and they don't want you still using the old one. Which now, this issue, whether you're a gamer or somebody buys movies or just an average person, and let's say you're not into nerdy stuff regardless, this should enrage the average person because it's suddenly they're telling you don't own anything. And they're going to take it away from you whether or not you like it, because there's a clause in the contract when you purchase the game that you don't quite own it, you own a license to access it, and that license has gone away. And oh, poo-poo, maybe buy our newer version or look at all of the other new games that we have here, and that you don't actually own anything anymore. And they would prefer to shift everybody into some sort of live service, Netflix style, Game Pass, PS Plus style of paying per month to get access to their vast libraries and not actually giving you full ownership over anything. And this should enrage everybody. Consumers, gamers, moviegoers, everybody. Because they could take it from you. They could take it from you and there is no thing you can do about it. This is a problem. This is a problem more than just the nostalgia over owning a physical disc. Even if I buy a
Right.
digital library, if they can take it from me, then do I own anything? And why would I give them money for something if I don't actually own it? Why would I fork out $60 where if in 5 months some weird legal issue happens, they lose license to some Marvel product, and then I can't access it anymore? And you're asking yourself, well, that would never happen, but it's happened. It's happened with movies on Amazon. It's happened where they've taken the movie away from you because they no longer had access to the license. It's happened with games on Steam. It's happened with movies on PlayStation. It's happened before, and it'll happen again. And what confidence do you have that even giving them any money will return any sort of guarantee that you get access to this sort of thing? I'm jumping ahead, but they're shutting down the PlayStation stores for PS3 and Vita. No longer get access. Where does this go? Where do we end up in this dystopian future where you own nothing and you're supposed to be happy about it? Where they keep issuing you new licenses and you keep re-upping your access to something that you enjoy. And at some point, look, I don't know how to emphasize more how big a problem this is. And I don't have clean solutions. Now,
No.
I've been beating the drum for a long time. You should buy physical copies, but that's for your protection. That's so that you have a guarantee that you have access, you have a physical copy. Part of the problem, so here's an example. If let's say I want to buy a game, and you go, well, it's an older game, where do I find it? Well, you go on Steam. Steam doesn't have every game. So maybe I go on some of the other stores. Well, maybe it's not there. And you might go, oh, well, this is an issue. I own a Warhammer game. It's Warhammer Fantasy Battle March. It's not on Steam.
Uh-huh.
I don't have access to it anywhere. The fact that I have the disc means I can play it. That's the only option I have if I want to sit down and play this game. And if the licensing is weird and the access is weird, you'll find yourself in a weird amalgam of you won't be able to play this. This is the question that Stop Killing Games has been trying to address for a long time. Consumer rights and companies destroying games because they don't. It's not even that they don't want to maintain servers, is that they don't want you to continually have access forever or make your own servers because they don't know if they want to make money off it later. Stop Killing Games has been a big issue for a while because they've seen digital media disappearing over long periods of time. An example of a movie that you can't get a hold of, and this sounds stupid, but what is that? I can almost see it from here. Dick Tracy. Dick Tracy licensed through Nintendo, but you can't find it on Disney Plus, or through Disney, but you can't find it on Disney Plus. I couldn't find it on Amazon. I couldn't find any of the streaming services. And the licensing is weird because apparently what's-his-name owns the licensing, as has been maintaining it for a while. So the ability to go access this movie, which won Oscars, is really difficult. I had to go find on Amazon that they were selling it on Blu-ray and purchase it on Blu-ray because that was the only way I could find any ways you watch Dick Tracy. We do not live in a world of massive access. We live in a world of access that they're willing to give you. And if they're not willing to give it to you, they can just start crowding out media they don't like. If they control access, they control what you get to see. This was a problem on YouTube, where during the Biden administration leaned heavily on YouTube and Google, and huge amounts of things got banned arbitrarily. Things that referred to stuff that they didn't approve of, things that used certain words that they didn't approve of. You could say conspiracy stuff and get banned. Now it's not as bad as it used to be, but this was sanctioned by one of the largest corporations in the world and one of the largest governments in the world. And you might go, well, that's not legal. And it's like, well, then fight that, because I don't know who has millions of dollars to win that battle. Right. And here we are looking at Sony taking away essentially consumer rights where you don't physically own your game anymore. Now, here's the counter, which people won't want to hear. the vast majority of games are not sold physically.
Right.
And I know that's not something you're wanting to listen to, but I went through the numbers and it looks like Sony PlayStation sells 70 to 80% of their games digitally, only 20 to 30% physically. Xbox, it's worse. Only 10% of their games are sold physical. Nintendo is actually like 40 to 55.
Huh, interesting.
So from the company's perspective, they don't sell very many physical copies, and it costs them more to print these. So if they sell a digital game at $60 and then they sell a physical game at $60, they actually earn more money off of the digital game.
And that's been a huge problem as well, just the price. It's like, well, if you can sell it for cheaper and still make a profit off of it, you need to be doing that. But obviously they don't want to do what's best for the consumer. They want to do what's best for themselves, which is sell it for the same price as the digital and get or same price as the physical and get the extra profit margin.
And I understand hardware prices are going up. It costs extra money to put in the disk drive. Mm-hmm. I get it. Everybody wants to move everything digital, so it's easier on their end, despite the fact that they have to maintain large servers, and sometimes they're going to have to push out content that they don't want to maintain on their massive servers. And I don't know what a good solution is. The only real message you can get as a consumer is not buying their product. But the problem is, too many of you people are addicted to these companies. I don't know why all of you seem to shill for multi-billion-dollar companies and crawl over broken glass to defend them, but you do. And PlayStation is going to come out with the PlayStation 6 with no disc drive and selling no physical copies, and you're going to buy it anyway. You're not going to send them a message. You're not going to push back against them. You're going to buy it anyway because I have to have the new PlayStation, even though the games are shit. The games are getting worse every year, the AAA at least. And now you don't actually have access to physical copies. So now they're just going to demand that you stream everything. And you're going to buy it anyway. It's like when the latest movie comes out. And it's like, well, it's insulting to the brand and the fans and stuff. And you all show up and watch it anyway. None of you have the spine to say no. Now, I realize a lot of people have started petitions on the internet, which are going to go nowhere. People complain to their politicians, which isn't going to go anywhere. But you should be very, very concerned about the future we're setting up here, where you don't own anything anymore. And you might go, well, less physical copies is better to the environment. And it's like, do you really think all of that energy use is better than the physical copies? The massive increase in server space and water usage. My disk doesn't take a lot of water to make. The server takes a huge lot of water to cool. Not to mention the massive amount of electricity, most of which is used coal. Most electricity comes from coal.
Yeah.
It's not, the environmental argument isn't even good. And I'm supposed to tell Sony, don't do it, even though it's cheaper for them to not sell physical copies anymore. You're losing your rights over what you own, and you're losing your ability to even if you don't own rights over what you own, you could at least buy a physical copy and pretend like you do. But that's not going to be true anymore. And Nintendo's doing the same stupid thing. They're selling little discs that only give you DRM access and don't actually have any of the game on it anymore.
Right, and nothing's on it but the DRM. Yeah. It's one of the reasons I didn't want to go for they came out with an Xbox before the Pro, and it was basically the Xbox One minus the drive. A whole ton of stuff was wrong with that one. You had a whole slew of things that wouldn't work because you didn't have access to the physical disc. my brother-in-law got one for his family, and they knew that I had an Xbox, and they were asking me about some games and stuff, and I'm like, oh yeah, you can borrow it if you want. And he's like, we can't because there's no disk drive on it. I mean, it's another way to get into that used game market and shut it down.
Well, I mean,
They've never really liked that because they don't get a
no,
cutout.
the whole trading and sharing your games, they would rather force you both to buy a game as opposed to
Mhm.
you played a game and then you share it with your friend. But the whole market's changed at this point. It's this is not the gaming universe we used to do anymore. And owning physical copies has gone out the window. And all of you, most of you, I would say, are more than happy to go down that route. It's convenient, it's easy. I can just buy it on sale on Steam when it's available, and then I just download it when I want to. And then, some of those schmucks that lose access to their games, well, I didn't lose access, so I don't really care. And it only matters to you when it comes for you. When they take when they take your games from you that you thought you bought, when you've given hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of dollars to these companies, and suddenly you don't even own what you thought you owned, that you bought movies that you don't have access to anymore. I mean, if you bought Hot Fuzz or Terminator 2 on PlayStation, paid full price for it, it's gone. You don't get that anymore. And if they're not even going to give you physical discs, then what else can they take from you? Or just arbitrarily decide that you don't get it. And then we're in the weird world of them being to digitally add and edit and change things down the road. Well, that won't happen. Well, imagine how stupid it was when E.T., they went back and digitally enhanced it and took the guns away from the police officers and the FBI agents
Oh,
and
stupid.
gave them radios. Now imagine you buy E.T. digitally, or you buy a movie digitally, and then somebody down the road decides they think something's inappropriate. They go back and edit it out of the movie. Well, that will never happen. They've had movies that they gave new versions of while it was in theaters, as they've touched up or changed. You're like, what movie? Cats? Because it was so bad. But it's happened in more than one film as they've laughs in physical media. Yeah, see, Chance smugly sits here, but I'll remind you, Chance, that you can live off of your old stuff for only so long. I mean, look, you could sit there and go, I own a vast library of movies. But eventually, new stuff will come out and they will refuse to print discs for it. And there's nothing you can do about it. And then you're going to be sitting there going, I have to get Netflix. Well, I'll have Netflix anyway, that's fine. Until they remove the license or they take it from you and you lose access to everything. Chance says Nintendo will be coming to your house, confiscating your physical games, pissing your cereal, slap your mother, as if they haven't already.
Well, the thing is that, and this is the deceptive thing about about media, because we because we have a physical copy, we think we own it, and technically, we don't. We only have a license to use it, a license which they could revoke, and suddenly, if there are certain things that they could do with your physical media. Like if it's old enough, you're safe, but if it's new enough, it's just a matter of a message from the server that says nope, they can't play this anymore, and you put the disc in your drive and go to play the game, and it gets your console gets a message from the server that says shut this game down. So you may still have that physical copy, but they can still say, no, the license agreement is null and void. You no longer get to play that.
Well, and let me remind everybody that own physical copies. It's like, well, I got a big physical, library of games from the, PS5 and PS4 and stuff. Most of your game is not on that disc. Every time people buy a game, they have to download an absurd amount to get the stupid thing functioning. I would venture to say you haven't fully owned a game that's been fully on a disc for quite some time. I mean, there are probably PS4 games that are wholly on the disc, but by and large, when you buy a brand new game,
If you had to
you're downloading most
download
of it.
something, if you had to download a day one patch to get that thing to work,
Oh, I'm
it's
not even
not on
talking
the
a
disc.
patch. The fact that you download Call of Duty and somehow it comes with 10 gigs of download. And it's like most of the
Right.
game isn't even on that disc at that point. Do you really own the physical copy, or do you own a peace of mind is the problem. I would venture to say the
that's what it
Switch
is.
the Switch is the only one where by and large the games were pretty much all on the cartridges.
For a long time now.
Right. Chance says,
yeah.
I had that argument in Cliffy B once. I argue that payment for a good entitles you to unlimited usage ownership of that item. He disagreed in the douchiest way possible. Well, and see, that's the question, though. Are we supposed to give these companies money for slop and then thank them for the privilege and then watch as they pump our stomach to get it back? And we're supposed to be grateful for this. And the problem is people will buy it anyway. They will take this on the chin. They will let Nintendo pee in their mouth because as long as I get access to the Mario game. And the problem is the games haven't even been that good. Most of the popular titles, the most played games on console today are like 5 games. Fortnite, freaking COD, there's FIFA. And the stupid part is you can play Fortnite on your phone. You can play it on your PlayStation 4. Did you need a PlayStation 5 to have access to Fortnite? Did you really? Well, then at what point was it really that
anymore.
necessary to upgrade? Well, the PS4 is still, the store is still active. The PS3 is going under. You will not own anything and you will thank them for the privilege. And then they'll take it away from you even though you purchased it, and you'll thank them for the privilege. You won't pick up a fight. You won't refuse to purchase their games. You will buy the next thing because of FOMO. You have to own GTA 6. You have to own GTA 6. One of the biggest issues that came out this week is we found out that people who pre-ordered physical copies of GTA 6 don't get a disc. They're all digital. You just get a code in the box. And you will thank them for it. And what do you mean? You don't even know if the game is good. You don't know if the game is good. They've already pre-sold so many. They're up to 3 billion sold. $3 billion.
Okay.
Yep. Announced by them.
What happens if this game is a hot mess? What if it's actual garbage?
You already gave them their money. They feel entitled and embiggened by the whole thing. Chance says what burns my taint is eliminating the cost of physical media production, shipping, and distribution will in no way translate to lower costs for consumers. It hasn't already. The argument used to be that it's like, well, it's more expensive for discs. So theoretically, it would be cheaper to get the digital version. But it isn't. They still find the nerve to charge you $60 or $80 or whatever, the same price as the physical copy for the digital version, even though there's no distribution, there's no printing of the discs whatsoever. It never translated to cheaper for the consumer. It only translated to, it's more expensive for the company to print these discs. Chance also says, if I can't run over protesters in GTA 6 and I don't want it. Well, that was always a problem out the gate, is they announced that they were going to have pride parades during GTA 6, which immediately meant everybody was going to go, so I'm just going to violate pride parade and commit so many hate crimes that it'll be a problem across the internet. What they'll probably do is put the invisible wall up.
That on YouTube.
Well, they'll put the invisible wall up and they'll prevent anybody from doing it. We all know that's what's going to happen. But you have to consume product. You can't, you can't have any other choice. I have to get GTA 6, and my friends are going to buy GTA 6. I can't be the only one that doesn't play it, even though the game looks like crap. I can't be the only one that's not going to play it. FOMO, dude.
Be a rebel. Be a rebel. Tell someone to stick it.
The newer generations don't have a rebellious streak in their bones. Everybody consumes the latest product. They complain about capitalism all the time, and they consume everything that comes out. And that's what's so stupid about how these things have gone down the track that we have. I've heard a lot of people complain. One of the bigger complaints that I've seen on the internet as well. The problem here is capitalism, is because evil Sony, and it's like, look, Sony's making a very calculated decision. It costs them more money for physical copies. It costs them more money for the hardware to have physical discs. Plain and simple. But for some reason, they're blaming the company for it. And it's like, look, they would print physical discs if you bought it. Do you know what's far more... look at it this way. Here, I'm going to read... I found something from a former Xbox management dev who said that basically game dev under Xbox was daycare for developers. There's basically no accountability to turn a profit. The bar was low, just break even, don't worry about profits, try and win some awards. Game Pass subscriber numbers mattered more. Jason Schreier reveals all of this in his latest video. His video confirms everything that's been talked about Xbox for years, the unsustainability of the model, the folly of trying to be Netflix for games, yada, yada, yada. And you might ask yourself, well, why is that big a deal? Well, because essentially Game Pass created an environment where you no longer had to worry about whether or not your game was successful, because as long as it created more subscribers and created more content for Game Pass, it didn't matter. So they could just eat shitty games that they didn't try harder to make sure appease to a larger audience. They just put it on Game Pass and then they get paid out by Microsoft. But the problem is it hasn't been paying off. The only model to guarantee that you're getting better games is to force companies to make games and then earn a profit off their individual sales. And Game Pass is creating an environment where people just put it up there, and then Microsoft pays them off for it. And they don't even have to make a good game. They don't even have to make a successful game. I mean, that's the least capitalist thing I could possibly think of as Game Pass. It's far more socialistic, where it's like, well, everybody makes a game and we'll just spread the success around. But the problem is, that's not how it works. You can't just print games just so that there's extra library. I mean, Netflix has had this problem for years, where Netflix forks out huge amounts of money just so that they have more content distributed on Netflix. And you'll find shows where they forked out tens, hundreds of millions of dollars that were abysmal failures. Huge, massive productions. Everybody hates it. Why? Because, Netflix can eat it and the cost gets distributed across everybody. And it's harder for them to get a one-on-one response of, this movie came out, nobody watched it failure. It's more of a, we paid you for show, nobody watched it. Well, we're just going to eat the cost across all of the other things that we have available on our streaming service. Chance says, Rhett has solved peer pressure by not having peers. No one's on my level, Chance. Not even you. But we're supposed to accept it. Go ahead, Jason.
I mean, one of the things that I can see coming, there's a possibility here for an enormous class action lawsuit against some of these companies. It's going to take some doing. Obviously, it's not going to be easy, but I could see that happening. If there's enough vitriol to get people behind it, I could see that coming. And the thing is that
has
it doesn't just have to be
changed anything.
Oh, not petitions, but a class action lawsuit could do something.
It'll just get
Um,
people money, but they'll still forge forward because they know in the long term this is direction they're going.
Right, but the thing is that if it's damaging enough to the companies, it could force them to reevaluate how they do things, and it could put more consumer protections in place. Um, I'm not saying that maybe this is an unlikely scenario, but it is a scenario because this doesn't affect just gamers. It affects anyone um, on any platform, and beyond just media, it goes into the realm of any software that you've paid money to use, and suddenly the company just revokes access to it on their whim. So this could get a lot of traction, uh, even outside of gaming circles, just because of how widely applicable it is to the consumer themselves.
Well, here's the problem. It's going to happen
Not saying
anyway.
that it will happen, but
Look at it this way. Remember the backlash that happened to the Xbox One? It's always going to be
Mhm.
online. It's always going to be listening.
Yep.
Digital games. You can't trade them with other people. What do we have now? Consoles are always online. They're updating in the background. They're always monitoring. They're always listening.
uh-huh.
We have the Xbox One now. Everything we complained about last generation just happened, and we all rolled over. We just stabbed Xbox for doing it, but we all accepted that PlayStation and the newer Xbox are doing it anyway. Always accessing the internet. We pick a fight, but then we take it. We take it all, regardless. Chance says, sounds like the DGP could have a home on Netflix. They don't have the balls. Well, because the
We
problem
take the
is,
money.
I don't like most modern media because most modern media is bad, and Netflix couldn't handle a podcast that sits here and goes, "Oh yeah, the latest Netflix show's terrible." I mean, look at they just came out with Avatar season 2.
Mhm.
It's bad by most accounts. I haven't watched it, but it is drastically. I think it's like 60% less viewers of Avatar season 2 than season 1.
Yikes.
The
And
the response
Avatar
has
is
not been positive.
beloved.
So you really think Netflix wants someone on there to go, oh, this show sucks. Freaking Toph is stupid. Like, this whole show is terrible. They don't have the balls to do something like that. Because the one... We've been plagued in the last... partially because of the attitudes on Instagram and YouTube and stuff, by this weird toxic positive attitude
Yes.
that's happening. You're always supposed to be encouraging and positive and whatnot. And it's like, who says that being negative towards something that's genuinely bad is really toxic? I would argue that being positive can be really toxic because you're encouraging people
It can be super toxic.
to produce bad things, and you're encouraged. It's like the really bad girlfriends that, like, no, you're a 10, you can do it, and then have her make horrible decisions and ruin her life. No, your husband doesn't pay enough attention to you because he works. Divorce that man. Toxic positivity is also a problem. Bending over backwards to defend large corporations when they're producing stuff that's subpar. Angry Joe constantly changing his reviews to reflect popular sentiment for Superman because he realized that he wants to be in line with what everybody thinks of this stupid movie. What happened to people standing apart and saying, hey, this is bad and this is why it's bad and you shouldn't watch it because it's bad? But for some reason, everybody seems to think
Then
that
you
you
hurt
have to...
people's feelings, and feelings.
But you have to
Are
crawl out
sacrosanct,
and be positive and encouraging. No, it's not that bad. You know, they had some positive things. They're ruining our characters. They're ruining our culture. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend like it's okay. Chance says 10 years ago, we refused to take a D in the A. 2026, hey, giant corporate entity, let us pay for a D in the A. Well, it's
Yeah.
bigger and it has shards of glass attached to it. Consumer rights over what you own has been an issue for a long time. And all corporations want to do is they want to write into it clauses that you don't really own the music. You just own access. You don't really own a thing. You just own a license. You don't really own what you got. We're just granting you permission to gaze upon the work that we have given you, which by and large, let's be honest, games have been kind of balls lately.
Very true.
And now I'm
Very,
supposed
very
to
true.
pay you for the privilege to look at a game, to watch a movie, and then watch you take away my ability to access it.
I do have a question here. As we've been talking, something came to mind. So, if you were to change the model, and when I go and I buy a video game, that act of buying the video game doesn't just give me the right to use it. It actually gives me ownership over it. You can see how they had to do all these legal things to make sure that, look, I'm giving you access to this, but it's still mine. Because if I were to say, look, you buy it and it's now yours, well, what's stopping me from then capitalizing on that and making my own copies that I then sell on to other people? What's to stop me from going in and saying,
these are legal issues they've already addressed.
Right.
You can make copies of things you've got license for, which has, funny enough, been something that's been adjudicated as long as they're for personal use. You cannot redistribute and resell stuff that you've made copies of.
But the other thing is that if I were then granted the rights of ownership of this thing that I bought, then it becomes mine, and I can then make more of it. I can use it to create my own product. I can edit it how I want to and add, take away.
So you
do whatever I
advocating
want
this
to.
as a solution? Because I don't think this is going to go anywhere.
I'm saying it's a huge pain in the butt. Either way. On the one hand, for the consumer, obviously what I want is for, if I buy it, I don't want my access to it curtailed in any way. I paid money for it. You give me access to it in perpetuity. It doesn't matter if, Amazon loses the rights. That just means that they can't sell it to anyone else. But at the same time, they don't get to remove from me my ability to access that media. Well, same with Microsoft, anybody.
This question is going to become more and more difficult to answer. There's an example of Bruce Willis. I don't know if you recall what happened to him with Apple. Bruce Willis acquired vast music library through iTunes, like thousands and thousands of dollars worth of music. And he wanted to transfer ownership of it to his kids just in case he died, and Apple wouldn't let him. Because he owned all this music, but they're like, well, no, it's only for your access. You can't transfer it to your children. Which caused all of this drama, because he's like, I bought massive libraries of music so that I could access it whenever I wanted to, and I can't transfer it to my children. They're like, no.
See, that's another problem. If I have the license, why can't I transfer the ownership of that license to somebody else?
Your
why
license
is it only anchored to me?
It's your license, it's not their license. I mean, these calls into question huge problems where it feels like we're being taken advantage of by billion-dollar companies.
Oh yeah.
And we're supposed to be grateful. It's like, well, I bought a song on my iTunes. It's like, oh, well, can I have it? No, you have to buy it yourself. And then if I die, it goes away This reminds me of how property is handled in China. You don't own your property. You buy a license for it. And after 70 years when you die, the government
owns it.
takes it back from you. Yeah.
Yeah. And China's doing so well.
Like, you don't own property. You sort of license it. You pay the government to be able to have a building on land that your ancestors have probably lived there for 1,000 years. But, whatever. You're going to eat bugs and you're not going to own anything and you're going to be happy, which was literally what one of the heads at the World Economic Forum said.
Mm-hmm.
I think the line is something like, you won't own anything and you'll be happy. And it's like, I'm not happy. I'm not happy about this. And some of us older guys who built fast game libraries who are more than happy to play Super Mario Brothers 3 for the 20th time are going to watch our children walk around re-upping their license access to Fortnite after 40 years.
Yep.
How do I maintain a subscription service so that they keep giving me money? Because I don't like this one purchase and done. We need to create a service where they keep forking out money on a regular basis.
Well, obviously, this is, greed at the corporate level. It's like, how can... back in the day, they used to build products that would last forever. They would last so that when you died, you handed it to your kid. But that was not making them enough money. And so we came to the model that we have now, which is planned obsolescence, which is this will last for a few years and then it's going to break. It's not going to last forever. And you're just going to have to buy another whatever it is. And it sucks.
And then it's like, well, how do we deal with this? Oh, stop buying it. But guess what? You're going to buy it. You know how you fight against companies? With your dollar. You vote with your dollar. If you're unhappy with Star Wars, don't watch Star Wars. If you're unhappy with Marvel, don't watch Marvel. If you don't like Disney as a corporation, you think they're a bad company, don't give Disney your money. Yeah, but I have to watch the latest. Oh, well, then they're just going to keep taking advantage of you, aren't they? You vote with your dollar. If it costs more to get a better product that's going to last longer, you tell them, I want better product to last longer, but everybody always buys cheaper version. And then you just have crappy version that breaks easily, and then you have to keep rebuying it. And at some point, it would have been cheaper just to buy the one that lasts longer. And at this point, we're buying games that you don't own that we're just going to re-up down. I mean, look at all these people with vast digital libraries. I own thousands of games on my Steam. Do you? Do you really? And are you going to be able to hand this off to somebody down the road? I thought about it the other day as if I pass away, I don't know if anybody's going to be able to access my Steam library or even know how to or even care. Do I know anybody that games that's going to want to own my Steam library?
You might.
And it's like, how's the same thing going to happen on PlayStation or Xbox? Like, I'm not happy the direction things are going because we're moving to dystopian cyberpunk crap future. And no one seems to care. And I'm really blooming mad about this. You guys should be way more angry about what they're doing to your rights than you are. But a lot of you just shrug and you go along and it's fine because my kid has to have the latest GTA, even if it's bad, even if it's some bloated mess where you don't get access to online right out the gate. Gotta own the latest thing though, otherwise his friends will make fun of him. Well, you know what? Maybe they have to.
Maybe it would make your son a little bit more...
My kid needs a cell phone. No, he doesn't.
Resilient.
Well, what about emergencies? Nothing's ever an emergency. When was the last time somebody spontaneously combusted and you need to have a cell phone ready to call somebody? It's never an emergency. Well, what are
Yeah.
you, anti-technology? No, I own more electronics and hardware than the vast majority of people. Things are moving in a bad direction. To point out some of the absurd responses, here we have Domino's. In response to trends in the gaming industry, as of April 1st, 2027, Domino's UK will cease production of physical pizzas and shift to production of digital pizzas only. Consumers were able to download our full range of delicious pizza codes and use the power of imagination, enjoy them in an entirely virtual sense.
Domino's, you're amazing.
I know KFC
See,
had a really
this
good.
is an example of a company you should give money to. So
Well, just I'm always happy when one large corporation mocks another large corporation.
uh-huh.
I know KFC had something similar, but I don't see KFC. No. See KFC's response. I'll stop with the ads. Good Lord. I mean, lots of people, believe it or not, there's been sufficient backlash to this and a lot of negative responses. KFC joked about a fried chicken pass. What
You
we're just
you have to buy a subscription to our delicious fried chicken.
well, it's not like Sony hasn't earned this mocking, but the funny thing is, it looks like this was been planned for quite some time, and this isn't going to change.
Mhm.
They've been looking down the road and been thinking eventually discs are just going to have to go away. The problem is the backlash seems poorly timed because we also got the response of GTA 6 will not give you physical copies, which in a funny turn of events, a huge amount of people have been pre-ordering and then selling the pre-orders on eBay like it's been 10, 20 years ago. Because GTA is going to sell out, but the problem is if it's digital, they're not going to sell out. So people are buying pre-orders for digital codes on eBay,
Mm-hmm.
which is absurdly stupid. Is
Well-
this the smartest direction we can go now? Really?
I'm ashamed to say that I've done pre-orders. I've decided that I'm going to stop doing pre-orders. They're not worth it anymore. The quality of the product I feel needs to be checked before I put my money into it. So I'm not going to be doing that. But at the same time, it's like I can see a number of people that are not going to get that memo. They're going to keep giving corporations money, whether or not the corporation has actually earned it. And like we've said multiple times, every time a corporation releases any product, regardless of their past track record, that product is their attempt to win you over again. And so you need to treat it as such. You can't just say, oh, it's going to be good. I know it's going to be good, so I'm going to give you my money now. You need to say, no. Bring it out. Let me test it. Then I'm going to go on. Then I may give you my money. But until that happens, we're going to keep getting slop because the corporations, you're shelling over your money without having that assurance that anything you buy from them is going to be any good.
No,
And if they've already got your money, there's no incentive for them to make sure that they are giving you something good.
Jason, I don't think this argument works anymore.
No.
I think
right.
they're going to buy anyway. Like sitting here and having some sort of soapbox moment where we're talking to Congress and being like, "This is bad. We should all stop buying we should all get together and stop. People are going to buy it anyway. Look at GTA 6. They've already earned $3 billion.
Yeah.
The game's not even out yet.
And that sends the exact wrong message to these corporations. You're telling them that you will give over your hard-earned money no matter what they give you. They could they could open the case for Grand Theft Auto 6, and the CEO of, was it Rockstar? Rockstar could take a dump in it. They close it up and they mail it to you. That's what you're telling them that you will accept.
Oh, they'll accept
when you
anything.
do these pre-orders.
The entire game could be nothing but a giant ass letting out air. And you'll be like, well, this isn't what I paid for. Well, yeah, but you paid for it, and this is what you get.
Yep.
You don't know. You don't know if this is good. Well, GTA 6 or GTA 5 is amazing. And it's like, okay. Red Dead Redemption is a great game, but the online kind of sucked, and the game didn't end up being a big thing like it used to be. And not every GTA game is the greatest game ever. What guarantee do you have that a game is going to be just as good as the game that was before? And you're willingly bending over backwards to pay them for it. And no one is willing to stand up to this. Everybody seems willing to go over the cliff. To fork out the money to willingly give them for something that they haven't even produced yet. It's one thing to sit there, watch the game come out and be like, you know what, that looks good, I want to play it. The game's not even out yet. There's no danger of not having access. You could literally change your mind the day after it comes out and still get a game. There's no danger. Yep. Why do you insist on pre-ordering, forking out huge amounts of money to a company that hasn't earned it? What are you doing? But then again, I'm just screaming to the void because they're going to do this whether or not I tell them it's a bad idea or not, because I got to get GTA 6. All my friends got GTA 6. We're all going to play GTA 6, even if it's bad, even if it's terrible. And then you have the trying to defend it and pretend it's not as bad as it really is. It's like when the latest Marvel movie comes out, you see the people crawl out of the woodwork to try and defend the movie as not being as bad everybody claims it is. And then 6 months after the movie's out, people finally start admitting that Superman's bad. It's like, yeah, Superman was bad. We knew Superman was bad from the beginning. But you were unwilling to say it because you didn't have any balls. You had no courage. You had no conviction. The only thing your life is based around is consuming. That's really all it is. And as much as people complain about capitalism, you were playing that game, my friend, because you are basically the worst element of it. You are pure consumer. Pure consumer. You will consume. And the stupid part is you're not getting anything. You're not getting anything because it's all code on a screen. It's all digital in the air. You're getting nothing for your money. Nothing. So despite the fact that you're doing everything you can to benefit large multi-billion-dollar corporation that doesn't deserve your benefit of the doubt, you're going to bitch and moan about capitalism when you're giving them money and you're getting nothing in return. You're getting permission to play a game that you don't even know if it's good or not. Permission to watch a movie that might be balls, that they might revoke your access to. And you're willingly doing it. How is this the smartest thing the consumer can do? How is this you making wise decisions? You tell me that. Are we doing a good job? Am I being a good consumer? And eventually we're going to live in Blade Runner world where we're all just buying certain products and then having stuff attached to our junk as we live in VR.
Everything
world.
will have a corporate logo on it.
That we're all super pleased that I mean, literally we're moving into idiocracy where all of our clothes have brands all over them. And you're doing it willingly. Willingly. You don't care. You just got to play the newest, best thing. When was the last time you stood up to anything? When was the last time you pushed against anything that was wrong? This is wrong. it's wrong from the get-go, and it's wrong down the road. You're like, well, what's the solution? Because eventually everything will digital. I don't have one. But you know what isn't helping is you encouraging them, is you giving them money to encourage them to keep stepping on you. And then taking it away down the road. Imagine this $3 billion in GTA, and then they just take it from you 2 years from now. They're like, oh, we don't want you to have it anymore. What exactly are you going to do about it? Not a damn thing. Because you can't do a damn thing. Because you don't own the game.
Yep.
Good job, Internet. You guys have done great. As we watch this all crumble around me, I'll smugly sit here and play my NES and act like I'm superior when I know that it's just getting worse no matter what. I'm going to sit in my basement and play Sega. Well, at least I got my Sega. They can't take this away from me. Until they send the corporate shills, the corporate bots that you see in the beginning of this intro to come kick down my door and then steal my Sega Genesis.
Sega needs it back.
No, I thought I had consumer rights. You don't have consumer rights. We're sending the corporate troops
Goon Squad
to come beat down your door and take what you have. And you're all okay with it. It's fine. I love me some GTA 6, everybody. I'm going to play the heck out of it. I'm not. I'm never playing that game. It's just never going to happen. Oh, boy.
I've never played any of the Grand Theft Autos, and I'm not about to start.
It's just principle. I was never interested in GTA, and I actually own a bunch of them because somebody gave me like the physical discs and stuff. They never interested me. They're not a game I want to play. And at this point, I'm just going to keep it going on principle. It's like, I love Star Wars, but I haven't seen Rise of Skywalker. And at this point, I'm just never gonna. Just because it's funny that I haven't seen it. Ross has tried to get me to watch it.
I'm totally with you there.
Ross is trying to get me to watch it, to sit down and do it. And I was like, the only way I would do that if I was creating content. But the problem is, we would create it for 40 people to watch our review of Rise of Skywalker. At this point, everybody said everything there has to be said about Rise of Skywalker. So, like, I would add anything, or it would garner very many views. So, what would be the point? Because that would be the only purpose.
Well,
to watch it.
The thing is that, like, I could see us doing that for, say, Doomsday, or some of the others that are coming out down the road. But at this point, Rise of Skywalker, maybe if we got 10,000 or so followers, and there were requests for us to do a review of Rise of Skywalker.
If I could guarantee 1 million plus views of us reviewing Rise of Skywalker, I would do it. But no one's going to listen to, no one's interested in what my take is. People have exhaustively gone over that movie in great detail, so there's not even a purpose to watch it. Like, I don't want to watch it, and I'm not even going to get any views out of watching it, so what would be the point of it?
Right.
It would just be a big waste of time. It's like watching Ghostbusters 2016. Why at this point? Well, just, so you can say what? I don't want to say I've watched it.
No interest.
It's funnier to tell people I refuse to see it at this point.
Yeah. Definitely.
It's like Avatar. Avatar makes $2 billion. It's like, oh my gosh, you see Avatar? It's like, no, I haven't seen Avatar. I
haven't even seen the movie, Pocahontas, the movie it's based on.
Pocahontas is pretty good. Won't cry, blue corn man. It's all fabricated, like Native American cultures and that. One of the biggest problems with Pocahontas is it's mostly just a big lie, and it's created a bunch of delusional.
It's a huge lie.
Created a bunch of weird delusional people about how they perceive Native American cultures. It's like, whoa, they don't have concepts of ownership or land property, and they all just live with the forest. And it's like, that's not true at all.
They're one with nature.
They're not one with nature. They modify their environments like any other human.
Yep. And they totally had property.
One,
Because if you strayed into another tribe's hunting ground, that was a no-no.
well, one of
They went
they
to war
constantly
over
had
property.
wars with one another, and they killed one another. The native Puebloans, commonly called Anasazi, but that's not actually what they call them in academia. I could get into it, but it's not a big a deal. They probably died. It was. You'll find YouTube videos are like, well, nobody knows what happened to the Anasazi, and it's like, well, they kind of know. It was either a climate change of sorts, where the climate shifted and their crops wouldn't work anymore, or they literally over-farmed their environment and killed everything around it and ended up having to flee. But at some point they abandoned it. And I remember bringing that up with somebody on some forum. It's like, no, we kind of know what happened. And they're like, well, the white man did that. It's like the Anasazi were wiped out way before any white man showed up.
Yeah. Yeah. They're not called the ancients for nothing.
Well, I'll explain it now. They call in academia, we call them the native Puebloans, because Anasazi is actually the name that other tribes called them, and it was like a name they called enemies, sort of thing. So it's not even really their name. It was a name that like negatively was called by the other tribes.
Right.
So they're now avoiding calling them the Anasazi. But even that, it's like, oh, well, they were wiped out and we don't know. We kind of know. we do. But that's what's so funny about history. It's so much more complicated than simply, oh, the Native Americans running around hugging stuff. It's like, you're talking thousands of tribes and many different peoples with different cultures and values and interests, and some were very violent and some were not very violent and very, cooperative with their neighbors, and some conquered one another and some didn't conquer one another.
I mean, the thing
going
is
down a
that
rabbit hole
they
we don't
go
need to.
out. I was going to say they go out on this limb to paint them as the noble savage, as the term is, but basically they're just human beings, and so they did the same thing that other tribes of human beings, and that includes white people. They did all the same things. They had all the same jealousies. They had all the same treaties and pacts with each other and wars, and they're no different.
Well, I just remember being in college classes studying Native American cultures, and some white middle-aged woman being like, well, the natives lived with their environment. And then it's like, no, that's true. Literally the term infantilize comes to mind, where they're basically turning them into precious infants that did no wrong. Yep. And that's more disrespectful because you're implying that they're not rational thinking beings that would make decisions on their own, that they're all just precious babies wandering the countryside and naked and without any wants or desires. And it's like, none of that's true. It's we have horrifically inaccurately studied Native America, at least the general public's perception, and Pocahontas is kind of at fault for that. At least they make the white guys bad because they had conflicts with the natives and they did stuff, and they had jealousies and conflicts, and they wanted their land, and sometimes they were really nice to each other and worked together because it's not always black and white. But regardless, oh my gosh, history is so complicated and so much more ugly than people seem to make it out to be.
Well,
You go
nobody
far
wants to.
back and everybody's just horrifically murder and diddling children.
And sometimes the most violent were the women.
Statistically, women rulers were more aggressive than male rulers. They went to war more frequently, which is funny. I remember some woman telling me, it's like, well, women wouldn't go to war. And I was like, that's not true at all. It's like Queen Elizabeth, Queen Victoria, Queen Isabel, Catherine the Great,
Give me a
freaking,
minute.
who was the most famous Egyptian pharaoh lady?
Cleopatra?
Cleopatra. She actually was part of stoking the freaking civil war in Rome.
In Rome. Yeah.
By siding with Marcus Aurelius and stuff. It's like, yeah, we're not alien species. We're all humans, and we all do stuff. Act like this isn't happening. We went down a rabbit hole we didn't need to. Hey, everybody,
No.
corporations hate you, and they're going to take your stuff, and all of you seem to not care as much as you should. So let's all cause a big hullabaloo. You know, we're going to end this little thing. So, believe it or not, the problem with Xbox, by all accounts, seems to be hitting Monday.
Okay.
To quote from George Broussard, original 3D Realms Apogee founder, this will likely be the largest single layoff event in gaming history.
Wow.
He apparently has seen a list of the studio closures, but he won't divulge them. But has said, quote, Xbox is going to be supremely unpopular for a very long time, like the meteor that took out the dinosaurs. We are looking at a massive layoff of epic proportions, and Xbox has earned this. They've earned this issue because Xbox has bought huge amount of companies, spent billions of dollars on companies that have produced low quality garbage that hasn't put their names on the map. It's like Bethesda's given us Starfield, and I mean, Ubisoft has produced Assassin's Creed Shadows. I mean, how many games? Well, we had Skull and Bones, and we had X Defiant, and we had Concord, and we had Marathon, and I mean, the list goes on. How many bad Halo games do we need to produce before we realize they don't know how to make Halo anymore? And the chickens have come home to roost, and it looks like Black Monday is going to be a thing. This might,
And it's their own fault.
as much as we might have been alluding to the game industry needs a crash of some sort, we might actually be seeing the crash on Monday. And that doesn't even need to be strictly a Microsoft thing. It could hit Microsoft and eventually hit a bunch of other companies because PlayStation's cruising for a bruising. And it looks like their reputation has hit really rock bottom because there's a lot of low trust in a lot of these corporations at the moment. Sales have plummeted. Do they really think they can come out of the PlayStation 6 and revitalize anything? Make it affordable? Because by all accounts, consoles are going to be $1,000 come the next generation. You're going to own no games. You're going to have no physical copies. You're going to pay $1,000 for a giant box. I don't know how survivable the console market really is going to be. And the only one to crawl out of this is probably going to be Nintendo.
Probably.
Maybe we'll see Microsoft sell off Xbox to PlayStation. We'll get Mega Station.
The Mega Station X.
Couple years from now, if the industry is as bad as it looks like it's going. But of course, as much as it looks bloody on the Xbox market and it looks really bad, and they're going to start gutting all these companies are being gut for a reason. They're not producing money. They're not producing quality games. This has to happen every now and then in the corporate sphere. They have to start purging large amounts of people because they overhired or they're not earning money and they're not getting returns. These things in fact, this is the healthiest thing that could happen to Xbox, as opposed to just keep grinding, trying to produce games that nobody wants to buy.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, well, what about the people that lose their jobs? Yeah, all sympathy, but
Feel for them.
You know, it's funny. I was talking to Ross about this in the movie industry.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, oh, you look at all these people who crawled, you know, all the effort they put into the people working
bringing
behind the
down the
scenes,
industry.
the programmers, the music, the audio people, the game design, everybody doing everything behind the scenes in video games in this case. And then it's like they're all going to lose their jobs. And do you know why? Because of the decision of probably 5 people.
Yeah.
Because of a bad writer, a bad CEO that somehow got really woke and decided to give them a thumbs up on creating a bad game, and hundreds and thousands of people are going to be laid off because a handful of people are really dumb. And it's not their fault. It's the heads of the corporations. It's the writers of the games, it's the game designer, the head game designers, it's game directors, it's the CEO. All sitting there going, you know what? You know what we need? We need a hero shooter that's really woke with a bunch of trans characters. Oh, Concord became one of the largest failures in industry history? Hemorrhaging hundreds of millions of dollars for Sony? Oh, well, who could have seen that coming? I guarantee you that decision came down to like 5 people. They're at fault, and they're the ones that are going to walk out of this fine.
Yeah.
With bigger pocketbooks and better situations. They could say, well, I worked on these large companies. And if you don't think that's true, and that these, look at it this way. Supergirl, as bad as it was, do you know who was one of the writers on Supergirl? She also wrote for Batwoman, or Batgirl, which was canceled because it was so bad.
Mess. Yeah.
What makes you think that person can write anything? And then you look down these movies and you go, oh, this movie did badly. What else did they work on? And another failure? Why do you keep hiring the same failures? What makes you think these people can, if they can't make a good movie, what makes you think you're going to keep throwing millions of dollars at them and they're going to produce anything better? And the problem is that happened with Xbox, where they kept throwing money at developers who kept producing bad games. Oh, it'll get better as long as we have content for Game Pass. Well, it didn't pay off. Games are bad because at the core of games, the thing that brings people in is quality games. You can do a bunch of dumb bullshit, but what you can't do is give people games that are good if you're not making games that are good. I'm not going to pay for Game Pass where every game on Game Pass is terrible. Or I guarantee you they looked at the Game Pass and they're like, what are the most downloaded games? Games came out 5-10 years ago.
Yeah.
Guarantee you that was the thing. But, you know, whatever. We're looking at the massive meteor hitting the dinosaurs come Monday, and we're probably going to look at the fallout next week and see what game studios were on the chopping block. Because a lot of them ain't going to stick around. I can tell you that. I know there's been a lot of speculation as to who these companies are going to be on the chopping block, but it's really hard to tell. I have a few notes here. I'm not going to get super into it. It was my opinion that Game Pass essentially made people lazy. I kind of brought that up. Made game developers lazy because they didn't have to try hard to make games that were successful. They could just put it on Game Pass. And the joke on the internet, which I don't know, I'm going to be very careful with how I phrase this, Jason.
Okay.
The large angry response to what's happening with consumer rights at the moment is people screaming at the internet going, well, if I don't own anything, then how is piracy any wrong? And it seems to be that if you don't have any rights to ownership of anything, and they're just going to take it away from you at a drop of a hat, or because Bill Gates has an itch in his balls, then legally piracy is wrong, but morally it's hard to argue that it's that wrong anymore. If you can just take it away from me, then how come I can't just steal it?
Yeah. If you're going to steal it, maybe I should steal it first.
Ethically, it's hard to argue that it's as bad as it seemed to used to be. Because if I don't own anything and you can just take it from me, then why is it that big a deal if I just download it? I'm not advocating piracy. I'm just saying. Think about it.
We're exploring the thought problem that has arisen because of developments in the game industry here. We're not condoning any particular course of action. We're just exploring the thought problem.
Have you heard
like Schrodinger's cat?
Schrodinger's piracy? Have you heard of Have you heard of a product called a VPN, Jason?
Yes.
I'm just bringing that up for no reason, just so you're aware. So Google it. It's an interesting product.
Yeah.
Anyway, have we screened? Is there anything left unsaid about the horror that is the situation facing the gaming world? I mean, it looks bad, and it doesn't look
bad.
good for your average gamer. And what gaming looks like down the road is probably not going to be what we all hope it should be.
I think what we need to do, especially with this, is we need to make allies with people who aren't typically seen as allies of the gaming industry. Because, like I said, this doesn't just affect gamers. This affects any type of media content. It's streaming, it's buying digital copies of music, of movies, of anything on any platform. And it goes beyond that, even into the realm of just software in general. So if I'm at a business and I'm getting a program to help run my business, this also affects that as well, because it comes down to the fact that I don't own anything that is digital at all. And even those things that are physical that I think I own, I don't. And so I think, like I said, we need to branch out and expand this into the other consumer areas that are also going to be affected, and get them on board as well in trying to figure out what we need to do here to protect ourselves as consumers, as opposed to just keep shoveling money at the corporations. They don't need it, and they need to earn it every time they release anything.
Have you heard what happened to Microsoft Office 2019?
No, but
Well,
they don't have Microsoft Office really anymore. It's a subscription service now.
Well, Microsoft Office 2019, when you bought it, you bought an in perpetuity license. So a lot of people just bought it and they had it forever. Now, at some point, they stopped updating it, which is fine because, whatever. I own it. You're not going to keep, updating so that my thing is running functionally or whatever. But I have a access in perpetuity. And then they found that they were disabling some stuff, and it looked like on the Microsoft's website they changed the wording where they said that you could own it in perpetuity, and now that they like edited it to make it seem like they never said that. So it's no longer the subscription thing. It's
double speak from corporations.
Yeah. Don't trust anybody. You're an ancient samurai wandering the countryside, and anybody can shiv you in the back. This is prison, everybody. Don't trust anybody. They don't got your interests at heart.
They never have, and they never will.
News now.
News now online. This is the Distracted Gamers, connecting you now.
Yes, it is done, but at least we got rid of all that gross chance comments on the side. Don't got to stare at that anymore. Let's see. Supergirl has been a massive, abysmal failure. I'm not going to bring this up,
As-
but I have a list of 10 movies that did better, performed better than Supergirl. Number 10, Morbius. Believe it or not, performed better than Supergirl.
Holy cow!
Morbius, that
That-
terrible, terrible movie.
That's amazing.
The Marvels, massive, utter failure, huge amounts of money loss. The Marvels, Green Lantern performed better than Supergirl. The Flash performed better than Supergirl, despite the
Wow.
massive amount of controversy surrounding the
Ezra
guy who
Miller?
plays the Flash, Ezra Miller, who literally kidnapped people. Black Adam did better than Supergirl. Eternals did better than Supergirl. Thunderbolts did better than Supergirl. Captain America: Brave New World. Ant-Man, the Wasp, Quantumania, and Fantastic
Oh
Four.
my gosh.
Most of these movies, I will remind you, lost money.
So basically, Supergirl is the black hole of the movies right now. That's what we've found out. It's losing even more money than them.
Avatar: The
Yikes.
Last Airbender views crash on Netflix. They had a huge
Yeah, you
drop off at
mentioned that
about
it was bad.
58% from season 1 to season 2. Things are going
And
badly.
season 2 was pretty anticipated, pretty hotly anticipated, just because of how well they did. Yeah, there were problems with season 1, but it was pretty well received.
I mean, season 1 of Fallout did really well, confusingly. Season 2 of Fallout did not do really well. So I don't know. Maybe it's just a period of time where they caught this weird wind where everybody wanted to sit and watch it.
Maybe.
I already brought this up. GTA has already generated $3 billion in revenue. Awesome.
That is way more than it should.
Bungie's former head Justin Truman has resigned. He's being replaced by Poria Torkin. I don't know who would accept this job because you're basically put in charge as captain of a sinking ship, told that you have to make Marathon successful or Bungie goes away. Why is that a job you would want?
That's scary. Because you kind of come in to this situation with the expectation that you're going to get fired, because it's going to be a slim chance that anybody is going to be able to make Marathon a success at this point, in my opinion.
You can't make a bad game good. It's funny, Ubisoft admitted that the community didn't resonate with Assassin's Creed Shadow story as much as it hoped. Hey, funny enough, a year or two later, we get Ubisoft to admit that Assassin's Creed Shadows was kind of balls. This is actually massive, earth-shattering news that we are going to cover really quickly. Comcast announced that it's going to separate media and technology businesses into two leading public companies. What this means is they're going to split off NBC Universal from Comcast.
Interesting.
Spin off NBC Universal and Sky. Now, what does that mean? Well, companies have done this in the past. I can't remember who spun out. Was it ABC or something? But Warner split out of a company, and do you know what they did? They
Not
dumped
off
a
the
bunch
top
of their
of my head.
debt on Warner, and then
Oh, right.
turned Warner into its own company. And that's part of the reason why Warner was sitting on $40 billion in debt that they couldn't pay for, is because when they split
Right,
off
'cause-
Warner, they threw a bunch of debt on top of them when they split off
They're
that
like-
company.
It's Warner's fault. It's not ours.
Which makes me think maybe Comcast is going to do a similar thing by dump a bunch of debt on NBC Universal and Sky. Also, this has brought up a bunch of speculation as to whether or not NBC Universal is going to end up being up for sale, which could have the funniest of outcomes, where Disney buys NBC Universal and owns Universal theme parks.
That would be pretty funny.
Also, a funny outcome would be Netflix buying it, and suddenly Netflix owns a bunch of theme parks. That would be an option after losing out on Warner. They just buy Universal Studios.
And then it becomes the Netflix Universal, which is directly competing against Disney.
I guarantee you they would shut down the NBC, the MSNBC stuff. They'd be doing poorly over there. Seems like we've seen hints from Sony that hybrid gaming seems to be the direction that they're going for the PlayStation 6. Sony's PlayStation 6 is set to come out in 2027. It seems like something else has been cooking as well. Credible hardware leaker Kelper L2 hints at hybrid gaming with a PS6 handheld. Apparently, the rumors are suggesting that PlayStation not only going to release a powerful console, but also a powerful portable device similar to a Nintendo Switch. The rumors only growing thanks to Moore's Law is Dead, who has 27-minute video on YouTube about the PS6 dockable handheld device leak, codenamed Candace. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
I don't think any of this is encouraging for the future of PlayStation, considering it's going to cost stupid amounts of money. Apparently a bunch of celebrities are calling The Rock a coward for staying out of politics. To be fair, he took a huge hit in reputation because he weighed into politics recently with the Biden when Biden got elected, and a lot of people hated him for it. And apparently, Will Wheaton and a bunch of others are crawling out of the woodwork, calling him a coward for not weighing into politics. You know what? I don't blame people for not weighing into politics or having a public express opinion. You don't, especially if you're not an expert on anything.
If you don't,
just because everybody has shit, just like everybody has a political opinion, and they all stink. So there's no reason that we should be subject to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's political perspective. I'm not sitting at home wondering what mankind thinks of Donald Trump at the moment. And it's fine. Not everybody has to weigh in on politics. It's fine. You got to browbeat somebody for not weighing in. This is stupid. It's stupid. It's stupid.
Yeah, it is.
Apparently, Hideo Kojima had a positive review of Supergirl, which reaffirms that Hideo Kojima is a psychopath. Dynamite Entertainment is relaunching Gargoyles again in a new series this summer. We'll watch that. Has everybody been beating the drum for new Gargoyles? Good Lord.
That's way old.
All right, Jason. I didn't know if we were going to do this. Do we need to do the spoilers for Doomsday?
Spoilers for what?
Doomsday.
Oh, Doomsday? Yes, we do need to do spoilers because that movie needs to be spoiled.
Do I have a spoiler thing? Spoiler. I didn't know I wanted to do this. It's been confirmed from some people in the know that it is correct, but there's no guarantees. But we have had a huge leak on the plot of Doomsday. So let's sit. Oh my gosh. The problem is, how much do I really care? Because at this point, the Marvel Universe is already destroyed. So how much is any of this going to fix, let alone it sounds like it's going to be really bad anyway. Regardless, the full plot description of Avengers Doomsday. Avengers Doomsday opens in New York City on Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man's Earth. He's fighting Deadpool and Wolverine, who are sent there with a planet-killing bomb built by Beast to destroy Tobey's world in order to save their own universe from an incursion. Tobey battles Hugh Jackman's Wolverine and manages to plant the device. Wolverine stays behind when it detonates, and both he and Tobey Maguire, Super Spider-Man, along with everyone on that Earth, are killed. Deadpool escapes and returns to his own Earth, which we see in the distance. Charles Xavier watches the destroyed world below with sadness, but they had no choice. We then cut to Tony's funeral. Steve speaks with some heroes, including Ant-Man, before returning the stones. He goes back in time and chooses to stay with Peggy. They have a son, Jim, One day, Loki visits them. This was before the Loki season 2 finale. He tells Steve about the TVAA and warns him that they will soon prune this timeline because Steve was never meant to live there or have a son. Loki offers them a way out. He can take them to a universe where they don't exist and live in peace, the Fantastic Four universe. Before leaving, Loki gives Steve a special card to contact him. Steve and his family live there for 10 years. We then see Doctor Doom visiting Sue and Franklin. They clearly know each other. Doom says he has come to speak with Reed. He warns him about the incursions and reveals their universe is next. He proposes a plan, but they must travel with him to Earth 616. Doom also asks Reed whether it's possible someone from another universe is living in theirs. They scan the planet and discover an anomaly, Steve and his family. They confront Steve, who recognizes them after living there for a decade. They explain the incursions and ask him to come to 616 to help convince the Avengers to trust Doom's plan. They travel there, and Steve successfully persuades the heroes to listen. Next, they visit the X-Men universe. The X-Men are hostile. They survived multiple incursions and trust no one. They assume the MCU heroes and the Fantastic Four have come to destroy them and attack. Reed and Doom explain their situation to build massive cannons on each Earth that will permanently separate the universes and stop the incursions. They will split into teams, and each one will go to another Earth to place a cannon there. Meanwhile, Steve tells Thor he met Loki, who is still alive. Thor asks Steve to take him to him. Using Loki's card, they locate the TVA, but when they arrive, everyone is dead, and Loki has had his heart ripped out. They realize Doom is responsible. Steve goes back to confront Doom, who reveals his true plan to allow the incursions to happen so he can build the multiverse in his own image and resurrect his dead family. He takes Steve to his castle in Latveria on his Earth. There, Steve meets Doom's followers, masked witches. One of them impersonate Peggy to manipulate him. Doom reveals that Steve's presence in the universe is what triggered their incursion because he didn't belong there. It also led to the death of Doom's family. Doom became obsessed with stopping the incursion, conducting dangerous experiments, one of which failed, killing his family and leaving him disfigured, forcing him to wear the armor and mask. As revenge, Doom kills Steve's son in front of him. Doom announces that the Avengers are coming, and Latveria prepares for war. The Fantastic Four and the Avengers and the X-Men unite and march on Latveria. Thor prays to Odin, who sends an army from Valhalla to join the battle. A massive war erupts as the Earths begin to collide. Eventually, the universes crash into each other and are destroyed, killing everybody. Everyone except Doom. Is revealed that he stole Loki's powers. Using them, he created Battleworld, resurrects everyone, and erases their memories, then believes Battleworld is all that has ever existed. We see them living new lives in this false reality. Doom sits on his throne as Emperor of Battleworld. The end.
Hey, let's go see it.
Well, look, someone who's nerdy, I could see plot lines that are in other comic series and whatnot. I think even the average Marvel enjoyer is going to find this confusing and stupid.
Yep.
You would have to have watched everything to even have a mild, like, kind of know what's going on here. This is a convoluted, complicated cluster of nonsense. Yep. And I don't know how anyone's going to watch this and be like, I don't know what's happening. Like your average viewer.
Yeah, but in order for you to even have an inkling, I believe you have to also have read the comics, not just have watched the movies. Because I think the whole Doom and Battleworld thing is going to confuse people to no end as well, who aren't fans of the comics.
Look, you have to be a dedicated comic book fan to understand mildly what's going on. And the problem is a lot of this stuff is weaved in and out of all of the Marvel stuff that's happened after Endgame. And all that stuff is bad. Like, they're assuming you watched all the Loki stuff, which was terrible. They assumed you watched every movie that have all been terrible. You would have had to have watched like the X-Men movies from Fox to kind of know what's going on with these characters. This is a complicated, stupid mess. This is a stupid movie. This doesn't sound good. This doesn't sound engaging. This doesn't sound exciting. This sounds very stupid. And they're just they're using heroes to kill off other heroes to make it seem like there are consequences and threats and things are going in different directions.
And if there's one thing that we want as comic book fans is we want heroes to kill other heroes.
Yeah, my favorite of all of these people being Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man is going to die immediately, and I'm going to be furious. They're afraid to make Anthony Mackie upset, so Steve Rogers is just going to be Steve Rogers. He's not going to be freaking Captain America. He's not going to have the shield. He's not going to wear the suit because, well, no, we have a new Captain America who's much shittier.
Well, yeah. We're not going to give it back to Chris Evans. We already have Captain America.
We're going to see they're going to kill Steve's kid. It's like, okay, what? We're just going to go hard. That somehow being more violent and dark is going to somehow make this better. This isn't better. This isn't better. This is stupid. Nope. This is a very stupid movie. And we could go into the details of why a lot of this doesn't make sense. It's like Doom took Loki's powers. It's like, when did Loki have the power to resurrect people?
Yeah, and rewrite reality. His powers were always based around illusion.
Well, once again, here's the problem, Jason. You haven't watched the damn show. Because Loki becomes God Loki in the TVA series, where he holds the strands of fate together to keep everything, which was implied in the show that he fixed the problems with the multiverse, which apparently isn't true. Despite that, he gains weird, vast powers from the TVA. But the problem is the TVA is also super powerful. Why on earth would Doom be strong enough to destroy the TVA? They can manipulate reality and time and universes. At what point would Doom have the capacity to defeat these people?
And if he already had the power to defeat those people, why did he need to steal their power to begin with?
Because apparently they have the ability to resurrect people.
Stronger than them.
Well, once again, these are all relative and stupid because Doom's super physical power to beat someone in a fight is also different from their super ability to control time and space and reality. Because that's apparently what he wanted, to reforge a new universe or new world, battle world, so that it can be the world he wants it to be, which is why he went after the TVA. And apparently the TVA have the ability to create new universes and new worlds. And if you have this whole agency that's so powerful that watches over these things to make sure things don't fall apart, these universes stay together, then why are incursions happening? I thought they existed to solve this problem. So they don't exist to solve this problem, and all of this is thrown out the window so that Doom can have his whole nonsense where he goes and kills his way across the universe, manipulates everybody so that he can have Battle World, one of the more dumb stories in the Marvel timeline, where everybody just gets to fight everybody. Like, I don't know what the solution is. They definitely need a hard reset. This isn't it. This is not a Endgame-esque huge event. This is just going to leave everybody pissed off as you start killing their favorite characters.
Yep.
And all of it's confusing. All of it's confusing. Oh, well, I thought it was fine and that Loki had the power to control it. Well, apparently he doesn't. Well, I thought the TVA was looking over everything and that they were making sure, well, they don't.
Apparently
well, what about Kang? Didn't have Kang the ability to go to a different universe? The Council of Kang or what? Well, he did something offensive and we don't want him anymore. Well, I thought he was manipulating the timelines. See, and all of this is the worst part about comics that I hate. This is the stuff in comic books that I think is stupid. This stuff. This multiverse, multi-universe bullshit. It's all bad. I want street level heroes, Spider-Man saving people. I want Daredevil fighting the Hand or whatever. I don't need people to go to Battle World. What are we going to get the moment to Battle World in the comics where you have Doom with an army of Thors from multiple universes fighting in his army? Like, what are we doing? Like, what's the plan here? And at no point do they mention Spider-Man. What's Spider-Man doing? Well, he's got his own movie coming out. If I were Sony, I would keep Spider-Man far away from any of this.
Yeah.
Doesn't get tainted by the just horrific. Like, they are spending. I can't believe, even if this movie does like $1 billion, which it probably will, that it's going to be net revenue positive, because they're paying Robert Downey Jr. a gross amount of money. I can't imagine this movie earns money. If anything, they're willing to take a loss in order to fix some of the problems that they've created. But I don't think this is fixing anything. I just think it is making it more complicated and stupid. I mean, it would have been better. Yep. It would have been a better solution if they'd had Galactus show up and kill everybody and just start again. I mean, seriously, especially when they've already demeaned, like, everybody seems to forget that the TVA were the ones that manipulated the whole Infinity Stones, and that they paled in comparison to the TVA's powers, and that they had Infinity Stones like they meant nothing.
Just in a drawer.
Yes. Precisely. That's how powerful the TVA is, and Doom just beats them? Really?
Yeah.
Really? Takes Loki's powers? Really? That's how that works? You could just steal his powers? Really? Well, this isn't going to save Marvel. I'm telling you right now, this isn't going to make things better.
Nope.
Even if you're a shill for Marvel, I don't think the average consumer is going to watch this and be like, what the hell is going on?
No, this is not a winning strategy for Marvel and Disney.
Well, let's all look forward to terrible Marvel MCU movie number 40.
Yeah.
Where's my spoiler? There. Anyway, it's been a fun 4th of July. We screamed at people taking away our rights like the Founding Fathers always intended.
Yep.
Things look bleak in the gaming world. The Marvel Cinematic Universe doesn't seem to be in any good shape. And the DC Universe is really bad because it looks like Supergirl's just an unmitigated failure. Is anything worth looking forward to in the nerd space? Despite low sales, I hope the final Final Fantasy VII game is going to be good. Oh boy. Well,
we'll cross our fingers on that one.
Let's put this podcast down. He's real tired. It's been a fun podcast. Thanks for coming with us, Jason, as always.
It's been fun. Been real, people.
Let's get out of here, everybody. Have a good 4th of July. Don't blow up your fingers.
If you like the show, follow Rhett, Jason, Ross, and Silver, the world's most lethally stupid internet personalities, on Twitter at DG Podcast or on Instagram at Distracted Gamers. If you liked or hated what you heard here today, you can email them at thedistractedgamers@gmail.com and share your feelings. Not that Jason would care, since he hasn't any, of course.